Begin.
Okay. Good evening. This meeting of the Mahwah Board of Education is open to members of the public to be physically present. Members of the public that attend will be asked to follow the same procedures as all other visitors to our schools. Those procedures can be found on the agenda page of our website. Additionally, the board meeting will be live streamed for viewing purposes only. Anyone wishing to view the meeting may do so via Zoom. The webinar ID for this meeting is 869-1984-5662. And the required password is 676282. To allow for adequate distancing, the meeting location has been changed to the Mahwah High School Auditorium, 50 Ridge Road, Mahwah, New Jersey. And a roll call, Mr. Bleeker.
Mr. Copeland.
Here.
Mr. De Silva.
Here.
Mr. Denise.
Here.
Mr. Gallo.
Here.
Ms. Conoco.
Here.
Dr. Morthy.
Here.
Dr. Park.
Here.
Ms. Saccone.
Here.
And Mr. Kizmarski.
Here. Adequate notice of the agenda of this meeting has been provided to the Ridgewood News and the record specifying that Mahwah Board of Education will meet on June 30th, 2021 in the Mahwah High School Auditorium, 50 Ridge Road, Mahwah, New Jersey. A copy was filed with the Township Clerk. Please rise for a salute to the flag. Dr. Fitz, would you please lead us?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
With that, we actually will go into closed session for approximately 5 minutes. I don't believe any longer. So can I please get a motion to go into executive closed session? Dr. Morthy, seconded by Ms. Conoco, for personnel and confidential student matters. Thank you. We will really be back in 5 minutes, maybe 7. I don't know where the rest of my board went. Oh, here they come.
Well, we're in the neutral zone. This is much over.
Yes.
Now you're outnumbered. That's what happens when it's third.
No, it already
Okay. Everyone back? All right. Can I please get a motion to reconvene to public action meeting? Mr. De Silva, seconded by Mr. Denise. All right, we're back. Thank you very much for your patience. Yep. Okay, agenda questions. Please limit your questions at this time to resolutions under new business on this agenda. As a matter of fairness, you are asked to limit your questions to no more than one and your remarks to no longer than 3 minutes. If you are here representing a group, please identify yourself, the group, and your position in the group. If you are here as an individual, please give us your name and address. This section of public participation will be limited to 15 minutes. Please specify the resolution you are referring to in your question. Can I please get a motion to open the meeting to the public? Mr. De Silva, seconded by Mr. Copeland. We are open to the public for agenda questions.
My last name is Goltz. I'm a Mahwah resident. I have a few questions, actually,
Okay.
and I would like anybody to be very specific, please. Come September, the mask mandates, Murphy's already stated that it's up to the individual school districts.
Just real quick, ma'am,
implement-
I'm sorry,
Yes.
this is for the agenda questions.
Okay, agenda questions?
Yeah, there'll be another public session for general comments. Okay. There'll be another section soon.
Hello, Alison Theodore, 1 Arenal, please. My question is about item K. Is this a new plan, or is this the plan we've already been using in our school?
Is K our comprehensive equity plan?
Yeah, I mean, is this what we've already been using?
Yes, we've been using it
There's
since
nothing
2000
different?
We've been using it since 2019.
Nothing different?
No, it's a 3-year plan.
Awesome.
Any other questions for agenda? Okay, can I get a motion to close this portion of the public meeting? Ms. Conoco, seconded by Mr. Copeland. Interim Superintendent report. Dr. Fitz, your last report, please.
Thank you very much. Let me give my report in 2 parts. I would like to make my report in 2 parts. I want to tell you that it's been a real distinct pleasure to serve as your interim superintendent of schools for the past 12 months. I've met many thoughtful students, parents, caregivers, educators, and community partners. It has been most gratifying to serve with some of the amazing, talented teachers in this school district. Okay, thank you. I would like to tell you that I have met many thoughtful students, parents, caregivers, educators, and community partners. It has been gratifying to serve with some of the amazing, talented teachers, support staff, maintenance workers, as well as board members that I've ever seen and who are so committed to children. I have found our parents, our community members, and business leaders to be extremely supportive. They're quite engaged in the school, and they're willing to help us to achieve our mission and maintain our core values. So it's been my distinct pleasure to be a part of this community and to be a part of this district. The second phase of my report. I am delighted to inform you that the University of Arkansas claimed Dr. Dennis Fair as their new academic child. They have awarded him the doctorate in education with specialization in human resources, including teacher feedback and feedback of teacher practice. He's joining a constellation of 4,100 graduates at this graduation ceremony. But he's a part of over 27,000 students that's in attendance at the University of Arkansas. The University of Arkansas is a great university, It's research-based. They have over 60 specialization and doctoral and PhD programs there in Arkansas. So the university is pleased to award this degree, but they have high expectations of Dr. Fair. He's to come to this district and to make a difference. They have branded him by giving him this degree. And this community is looking to him to make a significant contribution to this district because they've invested in him, and they are rewarding him with a great job and a great opportunity to do great things. So with that, I'd like to say congratulations to you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Is that your report, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Bleeker.
No business report this evening, but I do want to also extend congratulations to Dennis on his doctorate, and to Dr. Fitz. Thank you very much for everything this past year, and wish you best of luck in the next district that you will be serving interim superintendent in. Thank you.
I would like to point out the typo on the next section. It would be Dr. Dennis Fair, not Mr. And congratulations, Dennis. And the floor is yours.
So we'll start with our strategic plan update.
Me too. Okay. For all those in the audience and for the board members, this is a really important presentation for us. This is an opportunity for us to provide some clarity on where we are with the strategic plan. It was something that we committed to 2 years ago, and it was something that it is something that we're very proud of because there's a lot of voice in this district vision. When we came into developing this strategic plan, our goal was really voice, clarity, direction, and growth. And when we look at this plan in its entirety, there are some lofty goals that asks for our district to come together and work towards some high-level educational experiences as well as community connections. How about that for technology? There you go. So I came across this, one of my colleagues, Brian Corey, sent this to me, and I thought it was very apropos for starting this presentation. Daniel Pink talked about something called the Pixar pitch. Anytime you go into a presentation, you want to make sure that you have clarity. You want it to be concise, you want to get to the point, and you want to make sure that the end is very clear. So he has a very specific formula for this Pixar pitch. It starts with once upon a time, then it goes to every day, then it goes to one day, because of that, and because of that, until finally. So I sat back and I really tried to understand or try to create something that was able to springboard us into this work and allow me to read this. Once upon a time, we had a district that worked tirelessly to provide an educational experience for our students, but realized it lacked consistent direction and focus at the K-12 level. Every day, they would create learning experiences that challenged students, but again, not truly connected. One day, a decision was made to align the K-12 model. Because of that, all the stakeholders were engaged to identify collective commitments. Because of that, the model blueprint was developed, until finally, a plan was in place to ensure that we are all paddling in the same direction. This high-quality and consistent plan was in place to move our district from great to exceptional. What's happening right now?
You're in charge of the clicker.
All right. So the way that this presentation is created, if you're familiar with the strategic plan, it's broken out into 4 frames. There's a curriculum frame, a social emotional learning frame, a facilities frame, and a community connections frame. I asked the team to come up and present specific to their area of expertise. So I asked Dr. Ravino to come up and talk specifically to elementary curriculum and instruction.
So at our level, we're really excited about the work we've been doing and what is about to happen in the next couple years coming up. But something that we did work on this year, obviously with COVID and the electronic form that we were in, all of our teachers were highly trained in online tools for collaboration and communication. And that was in-house PD. That was also bringing in outside sources to provide PD as well. But we did implement this year, so all of our kids were using different things like Seesaw and Google Classroom and Jamboard and Edpuzzle, so all things like that. We also are in the midst of updating a lot of our standards based off the state requirements, but also we also do a cycle, right? We always replace and update our curriculum. So we're working on our reading curriculum right now, touching on our writing units. And then also we're excited about this one. We're working on right now a PBL climate change, which is a problem-based learning experience for our children in K through 5. And the other piece that we're also really excited about is that we started to work on monthly themes that focused on empathy and inclusion. And we are also looking at all of our literature that we use at the lower level for read-alouds and mentor texts to make sure that we really have the voice of our public and our students in what we're reading.
And while the highlight here says elementary, certainly with social emotional learning, as all of our students and parents know, this has been a focus of the district for many years now, brought primarily by Dr. DeToro back in the day, and certainly reinforced through our children's experiences and the professional development that our staff has. Certainly, we focused a lot on SEL during our reentry, making sure everybody was comfortable upon the return, having been away from the district for some time. We have surveyed throughout the course of the year not only our faculty, but our staff, and later you'll see other areas in which we surveyed. Our school safety team meetings, which is the genesis of culture and climate relative particularly to harassment, intimidation, and bullying, took on a new meaning this year in which we looked at, with emphasis, the culture and climate relative to SEL for all of our students, and were part of our collaborative plan. Through the Parent Academy, brought to you by the Department of Curriculum and Instruction, we had opportunities for parents to be trained through the same entities that have been exposing our staff to the knowledge and expertise of SEL.
Good evening. For facilities, within this goal statement, there are several different areas, and the main focus on it is to take a look and see what we have right now, get a good understanding of the status of our schools, and then create a plan for moving forward to address each of the different goal statements. The heart of this, we began a little bit over a year ago with the land facility audit. Land Engineering is a professional services company that we had come out and do a very detailed audit of all of our buildings to see areas of that we potentially may address. We've gone through over the past year, taken a look at that plan, and we're continuing to do so with the Facilities Committee as well, going forward into next year. But one of the areas that we did really focus on the first, it was taking a look at some of our roofing systems. So in doing so, we took a look at our roofs, used that audit to create an audit specifically for the roofing to help develop a plan of how we might address those areas and better maintain them over the next several years. Some other items that we addressed within the facilities side of the strategic plan was take a look at some of our outdated and or underutilized spaces throughout the district. In the 2021 year, we were able to take a look at the Betsy Ross Library and update that with some new furniture. The addition of the outdoor classroom at Betsy Ross School, as well as some handicap accessible equipment in the playground. Over at Joyce Kilmer School, one of the things we did was we took a look at the former computer lab to create that an innovative makerspace lab for the students, an innovation lab. And we're continuing to do the evaluation at our other schools as well. On the technology side of things, there were two major completions in the 2021 year. One was the introduction of a one-to-one model at Joyce Kilmer School. And then also throughout the district, we took a look at the Wi-Fi wireless access point utilization. We took a look at the agent system. And again, similar with the roofing audit, created a plan to address that system to make sure that the network technology was best suited for the user technology, the devices that were being purchased for the students and for the staff.
And for this year, we We kept a lot of things intact from previous years, like our work with the MSF and our HSOs. What we took from this unique school year is we created the Parent Advisory Council originally to garner input related to what reentry would look like from a variety of stakeholders' perspectives. What we learned is that is something we're going to be using moving forward beyond this past school year. So we've been able to survey our community by gathering feedback through surveys, as previously mentioned. We piloted Thought Exchange, which is a program we're looking into. We had school-based community events, and we also created opportunities for students who are transitioning to new buildings to get tours, and also those unique experiences like the T-Bird Home Challengers, where our Math Honor Society students create family adventure kits that were STEAM related for our elementary kids.
We felt as though it was important to not only just use the words, but also see it in action. A number of these pictures we're taking this year, the top right and the top left picture are previous pictures, but they showcase the work that's being done currently. If you look at the top left, it's our makerspace, as we shared in previous board meetings. A makerspace is our point of pride in our district, that we're really trying to create that engineering and design process for our students, not just for our high school students, but really trying to build from kindergarten all the way up. Along the lines of the top right, we were fortunate enough to bring down our high school robotics students and have them showcase their work. I believe that's in Betsy Ross or Lenape Meadows. So they came down and they showed our students who are already working on projects what really our ultimate goal is, and I think that's something that's going to motivate and inspire them to continue to do more. Then the picture in the middle is our famous rocketry unit in Joyce Kilmer. That's where our 5th grade math and science teachers talk to our students about rocketry, and that students are able to build and then eventually launch. Down on the left-hand side, we have our alumni, Chris Raggi, that came in and worked with our GW students, our 3rd grade students. They had a fantastic opportunity to be news broadcasters with Milk and Cereal, but also the 3rd graders were able to do the current events and newscasts that were then played for the GW community. Down on the bottom, there's our Mindful Mahwah. We spoke about this at previous board meetings. We have a website developed with all sorts of SEL strategies that can be utilized not only by our staff, but our students and our parents. This is a continuation of the work that's being done, but just spotlighting some things. Our outdoor classroom on the left at Betsy Ross, not only do they have places to learn, they also have places that they can garden and really see that learning in action. Top right is more of a community service project that the school collected cereal for the Center for Food Action, really that community outreach of understanding the impact of our students and how we can make a positive impact on the community around us. Down on the bottom, it talks more about the SAMR model, not to get too technical. It's really how our technology is delivered in a meaningful way so our students are able to enjoy rich learning experiences. And in the top, where it's Women's History Month, that is one of the many months that we tried to spotlight and educate students on and appreciate other cultures or genders and so on. Along the lines of our secondary model, I'll try to be as brief as possible, but I would be remiss not to talk about the deep work that's happening at the secondary level specific to curriculum and instruction. A lot of people can talk about the negative that this pandemic has happened, and that's very, very real. But what we would like to talk about is the positive learning that took place specific to our teachers' practice. Our teachers were challenged to step outside of what they know and understand what they can do with technology along the lines of instructional experiences, educational experiences, collaborative experiences. There are a laundry list of programs that they utilized, ranging from Google Classroom to Tinkercad to different Osmos and other instructional experiences that took the students to a whole different level. Another piece that we talked about, and I know Dr. Bavino talked about, is that the initiative to understand what are we doing specific to diversity, equity, and inclusivity, and how are we allowing our students to see themselves in the book. How are we allowing our students to appreciate and understand the differences around us and be respectful and understand that? Another piece is that the state, up until about a month ago, explained to us that we were going to have to update our standards. We engaged a team from K-12, and we updated a number of standards across the district. Those standards range from world language to visual and performing arts to career readiness standards. Something that we're very proud of is our articulation opportunities. We want to make sure, as we talked about in the beginning, that we're all paddling in the same direction, and that's important for us to not only across the grade level, but up and down through the schools to make sure that we're handing off students that are ready, and we're also continuing the work that's being done. So those are some things that we've done at the secondary level, and more will come. Social emotional learning.
Yeah, on the secondary level, relative to SEL, certainly we have the continuation of all of the programs, as we've mentioned earlier. And a positive outcome of the pandemic was the opportunity for our staff to participate in Zoom professional development, in which they didn't have to leave the district. They could log on, and many of our mental health providers throughout the community offered free or significantly reduced cost training in the area of social emotional learning, in which our therapists, our child study team members, our guidance counselors, and certainly our teachers were able to participate. We did provide surveys to secondary students in which they could report any emotional concerns they had about themselves to their guidance counselors, and they were followed up and addressed accordingly. But again, as Dr. DeToro grazed upon, the Mindful Mahwah website is a highlight relative to SEL. It is an opportunity for parents and students to go on and see what is being executed within our school, and certainly all resources that are available. Additionally, on that site, there is a teacher-only location in which there is information for our faculty as particular as them. And then lastly, we continue to find ways to engage parents in educating them regarding their child's development, their development in this process, and the whole encompassing SEL package of family to school, back to family again.
Okay, at the secondary level, speaking again to facility items from our strategic plan, many of the items that I discussed earlier in the elementary do carry over here as well. Again, many of the items here are grounded in the land facility audit that we had completed. Also, the work that we had spoke to earlier regarding the roof audit and Wi-Fi survey to address those needs are at the secondary level as well. At Rampo Ridge, a couple of examples of things we're looking at there as part of the strategic plan is to reimagine some of our campus spaces. An area that we want to highlight here is outside the school, where the outdoor basketball area is, kind of trying to reimagine that space so it can be better incorporated into the overall school and strategic plan that we have for that, for those students and for that area. Art and chorus rooms as well are getting an update this coming summer. And at the high school, we're looking to, again, update some spaces there. The high school media center is getting some renovations this summer, as well as through the some transfers from our capital reserve account that was approved as part of the budget process. We're looking to identify some outdoor spaces and athletic spaces to address as well. Specifically the track at our turf field as well as the grandstand to update that for the coming years.
And for community connections at the secondary level, what our teachers have been able to do is invite guest speakers in a variety of classroom settings, whether that's in person or through virtual means. We're really excited about expanding our workplace opportunities for our students in our structured learning experience program. We're looking to continue to expand offerings provided by the Mahwah High School to inform parents about the college process, along with our Pathways program and beyond. And we've engaged with surrounding businesses like Stryker, and we're looking at dual enrollment programs, and we're looking in the future to really make that a robust listing for our students in terms of providing them with opportunities for internships and externships.
As I shared in the previous slide, along the lines of along the lines of curriculum instruction, there are a number of different online resources. If you see the top left, and something that allows our students to create digitally whatever they're looking to do, whether it's a structure like a house or whether it's some sort of structure. This is something that maybe our focus is going to be on audiovisual. The next piece is going to be away from the Tinkercad. If you notice, there's robots there in the center. The robots, and also if you look to the right of that, there's a piece of paper, but there's also something called an Osmo on that paper. Those two pieces are specific to coding. It's not just something that we have a robot and it's great that we have a robot. It's something that the students and the teachers create code that allows those objects to move in a certain direction. Top right is specific to DNA and other biotech courses. So we're really trying to create high-level experiences for our secondary students, and that's all on the back of our elementary, creating those problem solvers and developing the formula to move objects and create from kindergarten all the way up through 12th grade. Bottom left is our high school media center. Miss Miller has been working with Miss Davis on really reimagining that space, really keeping the essence of the library intact and making students really want to be there and do work and collaborate and enjoy their time there. So she has worked with surrounding districts to create a vision of what that space is going to look like. So we're in the process of building a new media center for Miss Miller that really meets her expectations and her needs to deliver her program. This is something that we're extremely proud of, and this is something that we're currently building. If you guys can just click on that website. Something that we have been committed to since the beginning of this process is transparency and clarity. It can't just be something that we're reporting at the board meeting and hoping that people listen. This is something that is going to be down on our website, and people are going to be able to view and see exactly where we are specific to our strategic plan, and more importantly, all the different frames within our strategic plan. So if you guys can click on curriculum and instruction, when you click on whatever frame you're looking at, if you scroll down, there are the different goals. Now, I want everyone to understand, the progress bars are not complete right now. We're still developing it. So those numbers mean nothing right now. This should be complete by the start of the school year, but we wanted to show you what is to come. This is still in a beta stage. If you look at goal 3, that is our third objective for curriculum and instruction. If you click on the progress bar, that's 60, yep. What that's going to do, and if you open it up, it's going to talk about what progress is being done in 2020 and 2021, but more importantly, what is our next step in 21 and 22. So what we're hoping to do is really unpack all the work that we're doing at the district level and the school level so people can see the work in progress from year to year. Now, please understand, as much as we are extremely proud of where we are status-wise in this strategic plan process, even though we did have the pandemic, we never lost sight of this is our #1 priority of making sure, obviously, the students are safe and they're learning, but we're moving our district forward. We also understand that this is not going to be done in 1 year. This is a 5-year plan, and we are very happy with, as we stated in the beginning of the year, this year was really auditing and starting to identify what are our opportunities. We not only are auditing, but we're also creating programs and moving forward. So that's just one of the many different objectives that we have. We wanted just to show you that this will be launched. We will send this to the entire district, also explaining how to navigate it so you don't have to memorize it right now, but understand that it's broken out into the 4 frames of our strategic plan. And then within those frames, we have all of our objectives and how we are progressing to our final year of 2025. If you can go back to the, perfect. Now, where do we go from here? As we said, we did a ton of work this year, but the work is far from done. Next year, our elementary team is positioned to continue to embed authentic learning opportunities. What are authentic learning opportunities? We want to step outside of just the work in the book. We want to continue to look for opportunities to create problem-based learning and really have the students create, investigate, and explore. Those are the terms that our community was asking for, and as well as our staff and our students of what does good instruction look like, sound like, and feel like. We also are positioned to create ambassadors in our schools because we want to make sure that our doors are open and people feel welcome. We want to breathe life into the expert directory. This is something that we rolled out last year prior to the pandemic and something that we want to revisit this year of engaging our community. We are very fortunate to be in a community rich with experience and expertise. We want to bring that learning in and that expertise in to our classrooms. And as Ms. Rizzo said, SEL is at the forefront to make sure that our students are in a position and in a mindset to learn. Our secondary program, I know Dr. Fair spoke at length about the different partnerships that we're looking to build, and we will continue to build over our next 5 years. We want to continue to look at what our space is utilized for and what opportunities we have in place. We also wanted to make sure that we're sustaining that parent advisory group to understand, are we providing a product that our community is proud of and we're able to really support the needs that are out there. Along the lines of where do we go from here? All of this was work in progress. The last two slides of what is next. The formalized experience of what is next will happen in September. The board, the administrative team are going to meet over the summer. We're going to develop goals, not only for the district, but we'll also identify goals specific to our schools, our administrators, our superintendent. Everything should be in lockstep to make sure that we are all moving in the same direction. So by September, in one of the meetings in September, we'll come back and we'll share with you our 21-22 school year goals will be the following. And that will allow you to continue to track our progress, understand clearly where we are going and what we would like to accomplish. So we know that this is a little bit lengthy, but it was very important for us to sound off on where we are on such an important plan that sets our district in the right direction. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I have two remaining items. Okay. So, thank you. So we have a recommendation for hire this evening. Ms. Natasha Carrera. She is 18D, item 18D. So I wanted to first introduce Natasha formally to the board. Natasha, can you just wave to the Board of Ed? That's Natasha. So our interview process proved to be a competitive and thorough one for our supervisor of elementary instruction, K through 5, where we interviewed many candidates, approximately 40, via Zoom video conferencing for preliminary reviews of candidates' leadership philosophies. From here, 8 candidates came in for in-person interviews. 3 finalists were asked to come back to complete a presentation that allowed for finalists to showcase their work with data specific to Mahwah and to demonstrate how this data would uniquely be communicated and worked through with our instructional coaches and our staff through their position as supervisor. From this presentation, our interview panel selected Mrs. Carrera as a recommendation for this position. Mrs. Carrera has served as first grade and third grade teacher for Patterson Public Schools. Mrs. Carrera earned her Bachelor's of Science degree in Elementary Ed from the College of New Jersey and her Master's degree in Educational Leadership from William Patterson University. Through her presentation, Mrs. Carrera demonstrated a care for student achievement, an understanding and thoughtfully working with data, a leadership presence, and an instructional vision that would contribute to our district's leadership team. Mrs. Carrera's reference cited her observation of a unique quality in Mrs. Carrera from very early on in her teaching, becoming a teacher leader on her team even upon the onset of her educational career. We are excited to recommend Mrs. Carrera to our Board of Ed to join our administrative team. And lastly, Dr. Fitz. Yes. We're going to miss you. This is your last official day right? And what a way to end it, right, with a board meeting. Dr. Fitz, he leaves our administrative team with 3 key pieces. He reminded us to take this work seriously, but to also find the time to not take this work so seriously. He always valued the importance of being human. And thirdly, he found a way to remind each of us of our strengths just when we needed to hear it the most. So we wish you the very best in your future. Thank you for spending your time with us for the last year. And we wanted to give you a little something so you remember us just like we'll remember you. I think it deserves a round of applause. Thank you.
Okay.
That's my report.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I will pick it up right from there. Dr. Fitz, I want to thank you very much for your leadership this year. You're a very calming presence in this district at a time, I think, when it needed it. Very focused and certainly helped the administrative team and work well together through this pandemic. So good luck. I believe you're probably starting your next job tomorrow morning because you have more energy than me. But I thank you, and on behalf of the board, I'm sure they'll have their own comments, but thank you so much. Dr. Farah, congratulations once again. Talk about 24/7 work. Especially in the middle of everything you were going through this year with the pandemic, still continue to pull that off. And it's very hard work, and congratulations. And the district is better for it. In other notes, I just wanted to say how great it was that the end of the year happened as it did in terms of the ceremonies we got to enjoy, moving up ceremonies, clap outs, the 8th grade dance. Good job, Brett, and the entire team at Rampo Ridge for getting that together. The graduation and the high school graduation, which came down to a last-minute call and wound up outside in a beautiful night. It was 62 degrees, and to think if it was a week later, we'd all be out there in 100-degree heat. But it was really nice, especially for the kids, just to be outside, to be together with all their family members in attendance. It was a beautiful night, and it was a great ceremony. So with that, that is my report. Move on to board committee reports. Anyone? Mr. Gallo.
Tonight is the last day of our calendar for the school year, so tomorrow is the beginning of the 21-22 school year, and it's been certainly a busy year for everyone in the school community. I just wanted to highlight a few items from the Finance Committee and from negotiations. Kyle has ably managed the finances of the district for the year. We have a very healthy balance sheet. We have a long list of capital projects that are all underway and all are funded. On the negotiation side, we completed 2 successor agreements, one with our supervisors and one with our administrators, which will be in place for the next 3 years. So we're in a good spot from considering that we were in a worldwide pandemic. We still continued to run the district in an excellent way, both for our students and for our community. That's my report for now.
Thank you very much. Any other reports? Dr. Morthy.
On behalf of instruction and curriculum, is this working? Is that better?
Yes, that's better.
First of all, congrats to our 2021 Mahwah High School graduating class, and best wishes as they move on in the next stages of their life. Also, congrats to the 8th graders, 5th graders, 3rd graders, kindergartners as they transition into the next school building. And let's hope that there's a more normal experience for them next year. Thank you to Dr. DeToro, Dr. Bivino, Dr. Fair now, and Ms. Rizzo on your strategic plan update. Thank you very much. And kind of what our future holds. Very optimistic. We look forward to working together on instruction and curriculum, on aspects of that particular goals and statements. Dr. Fitz, I wanted to just say something to you as well. Let me see, since I'm here. So, Dr. Fitz brought calmness, stability, and a sense of zen to a district that was reeling from losing a long-serving superintendent during a pandemic of epic proportions. During our interview process, I had actually reached out to one of your references, Dr. Fitz, And they highlighted your ability to handle a specific crisis situation in their school and how you maintained your composure despite the circumstances. I think we saw handling of several crises this year, and we saw that as an example. We thank you very much for being there in the public eye, being visible in the schools, and offering us your unique and mature perspective. We wish you well back home. We know that your wife is going to be happy to have you closer, and you don't have to commute all the way up to Mahwah. It's been our pleasure to have you this year, and we're glad to have learned lessons about educating our children and just about general life lessons. So thank you very much, Dr. Fitz. Congratulations, Dr. Fair, on your achievement and accomplishment. I know how difficult that is, and I'm trying to figure out how you did that and completed a doctoral dissertation and worked a full-time job during a pandemic. So you're like a superstar. And good luck to Dr. DeToro and Dr. Bivino as you begin bright and early tomorrow morning in your new administrative positions. We look forward to working with you. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other committee reports? Mr. Copeland.
I'll make this one quick. Just on behalf of the Community Relations Committee, I want to congratulate Dr. Fair publicly. We had a nice little meeting this morning. Also want to thank Dr. Fitz. Dr. Fitz, Mahwah is a better place because you were here. So thank you very much for your time and everything you taught us. I also want to wish everyone a very happy 4th of July. Have a happy and safe long weekend. That's it.
All right, thank you very much. Board member remarks, additional comments, non-agenda items. Mr. Gallo?
I'm not doing this in any particular order, but first I'd like to congratulate Dennis on the achievement of his doctorate. This is the only night that we're going to call you Dr. Fair. You'll remain Dennis for the remainder of our terms, but congratulations nonetheless. And more importantly, one of the key jobs that Dennis has is sort of our executive vice president for human resources. And this has been a bountiful hiring year. I think through Dennis's efforts, not only did we fill very important positions in the district, we filled them with high-quality individuals, which is really the mark of his service. And through his efforts, no doubt the unemployment rate in New Jersey has probably been reduced a couple of notches. But that's also a team effort, and that's a team that consists of our administrators and supervisors, teachers, so that we get a family of folks working in our district who are all focused on our students. And the people he's been able to find, recruit, and get into our classrooms have a passion for our students. And they stay with us, and they do good work, and we congratulate him for his effort.
Thank you.
Dr. Fitz, when we first saw you last summer, about a year ago, you were a little bit late to the interview, which was okay. It had already been a long night for us. But there were two characteristics that I think we all sensed immediately. One was the sense of calm that you had. Why would you be interviewing for a superintendent job in the midst of a worldwide pandemic? He was unafraid. And the second thing was his inner dynamism, his sense of action and moving forward. And I think those characteristics played out marvelously for us in the middle of our pandemic. And it has been to the benefit of our students, our staff, our leaders, that Dr. Fitz was with us this year. He will be the first to acknowledge that it wasn't all his effort, but a team effort. And we did remarkably well. And just to echo what Brett said, you left the district in a better spot than when you got here. And we are grateful and appreciative of your efforts, and we wish you the best of luck. And as I said before, today's the last day of the school year. Tomorrow, Dr. Fitz begins his new job. There's no rest for the weary, and Dr. Fitz is an exemplar of that statement. And finally, I want to just welcome Dr. DeToro, Dr. Bavino, and Mrs. Carreras to their new positions, which, I don't know, Ms. Carreras, are you starting tomorrow as well? No, but soon. We welcome you. And we certainly welcome our veteran leaders and Dr. Bovino, Dr. DeToro to their new positions, and we look forward to a bright and successful future with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
He's actually getting to sleep an extra hour now.
Anyone else down here for board member remarks? Mr. De Silva?
Sure. I'll be real quick. So, Dr. Fitz, just to, extend our gratitude, like has been said. You were a late addition to our interview schedule, and, it was one of those things where we get the package with the resume and everything else, and we opened up your package, and your resume was like 50 pages or something like that.
Many trees were killed.
You learn in high school that, you really, when you're putting together a resume, keep it as concise as you can, and only put things that are truly, of value. And every page, as I keep on turning, was experience of value. But I gotta say, with everything that happened this year, who would have thought that it could happen? I'm pretty sure, going through this year, you might have added a page of experience. Everything happened here. So when we were going through the interviews, I kind of, just to put in my mind for when we have discussion later on, kind of who's who. And on yours, I wrote the Jedi Master. And you were certainly that for us this year. We certainly appreciate your guidance and your, imparting your experience, just in the educational world, but, in life generally. And you definitely added value this year, and you were the right person at the right time for us. And Dr. Fair, love it. So going through the presentation of your dissertation, sometimes we look at it and say, okay, yeah, it's another degree, yeah, that's great. Well, the stuff that I saw, I see things that are actually going to improve what we're doing here, and that are actually of value. A lot of stuff that you've been doing for a long time, that you're taking to the next level, and I'm really excited to see where we go from there. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
On that. And like has been said, congratulations. Moving into new office, welcome. We're looking forward to beginning September fresh.
Yep. Agreed.
Thank you. Any other remarks? Mr. Denise?
I'd also like to congratulate Dr. Fair for his tremendous accomplishment. And Dr. Fitz, if there was ever the right person for the right job at the right place in the right time, it was you as our interim superintendent here in Mahwah in the middle of a pandemic. So thank you on behalf of a very grateful community, thank you for taking that job and for being the calming influence that we needed at the time. And also thank you to Mrs. Fair for sharing you with us. I know that you guys had a long distance to go, and we really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other board members? Okay. Oh, Mr. Cohen?
Well, a lot has been said about how very capable our administrative team is. One person that was not acknowledged that I would like to acknowledge is our business administrator, Mr. Bleeker. He passed an exam, and Kyle, forgive me because I can't recall the title of the exam, but a very difficult exam that a small percentage of business administrators pass. So I'd like to congratulate him on that achievement. And of course, congratulations to Dr. Fair, Dr. DeToro, Dr. Bovino. To all, our district is in very capable hands, very capable hands.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone else? All right, seeing none. Number 16, old business. Can I please get a motion to approve the minutes of the June 16th public work session action meeting? Mr. Gallo, seconded by Mr. Denise. Mr. Bleeker, roll, please.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes?
Mr. De Silva?
Yes.
Mrs. Denise?
Yes.
Mr. Gallo?
Yes.
Ms. Conoco?
Yes.
Dr. Morthy?
Yes.
Dr. Park?
Yes.
Ms. Saccone? And Mr. Kazmarski?
Yes. All right, number 17, new business. I have resolutions A through Z. Can I please get a motion to move those? Dr. Morthy, seconded by Ms. Conoco. Any discussion? Okay, Mr. Bleeker.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes on all, but I abstain on 17Z.
Thank you. Mr. De Silva? Yes. Mrs. Denise?
Yes.
Mr. Gallo?
Yes, except in 17A and B, I'm sure there's a check that I need to abstain from, and so I stipulate that I abstain from any check to Kelly Services.
Thank you, Mr. Gallo. Ms. Conoco?
Yes.
Dr. Morthy?
Yes.
Dr. Park?
Yes.
Ms. Saccone? And Mr. Kazmarski?
Yes. Number 18, new business. We have. Yes, Dr. Morthy?
Can I just comment on also the Eagle Scout project?
Yes.
Under P, and to say thank you for the work of our Boy Scouts. We've done several projects among our school district, and congratulations and good luck on the Eagle Scout project.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, 18, we have resolutions A through W. Can I please get a motion? Hold on, what? We took. Oh, no, we did 17. 18, A through W. Can I please get a motion to move this up? Mr. Copeland, seconded by Ms. Conoco. Roll call, please. Messing me up, Kyle.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Mr. De Silva?
Yes.
Mrs. Denise?
Yes.
Mr. Gallo?
Yes.
Ms. Conoco?
Yes.
Dr. Morthy?
Yes.
Dr. Park?
Yes.
Ms. Saccone? And Mr. Kazmarski?
Yes. All right, number 19, public questions or comment. Public participation at board meetings is in accordance with bylaw 0167. At this time, members of the public may ask questions or make comment on educational issues or school matters of community interest. As a matter of fairness, you are asked to limit your questions to no more than one and your remarks to no longer than 3 minutes. If you are here representing a group, please identify yourself, the group, and your position in the group. If you are here as an individual, please give us your name and address. Note this section of public participation will be limited to 15 minutes. Can I please get a motion to open the meeting to the public? Mr. De Silva, seconded by Dr. Morthy. We are open to the public. If you could please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, last name is Galtz, Mahwah resident. I would appreciate if we could get a definitive answer on the mask mandates for September. Is it going forward? Is the answer yes or no for our children?
So, Ms. Scholes, the biggest struggle here is, I know that at our last meeting, we shared that we'd be communicating our plan for September and August. Governor Murphy made an announcement at his press conference that I believe that masks would be up to the school district. And then he followed with the Road Forward plan, which states that the recommendations that he will be sharing are based on updated CDC guidance on masking in this setting, which is expected prior to the start of the 21-22 school year, and will factor into the final recommendations from the state for masking this fall. This guidance will be updated following that release. So we will have an answer in August when we present everything for September. We are a little frustrated because we had believed that the road forward would be a little bit more clear in terms of what that would look like. So we're going to see what the summer brings us. We're hoping that the transmission it continues to decrease as it has been. And we will have a full day of instruction, a full day of school, just as it was pre-pandemic. But masks, we will have a decision made in August, and we will have that communicated to everyone, especially at our meeting when we present our plan for September.
And also, in the strategic planning blueprint, we all saw the terminology diversion, equity, and inclusion quite a few times. And what does that entail exactly?
Dr. Toro can add on to this, but essentially it is children accepting one another for their differences, being kind, being good to one another.
But that's something we parents all teach our kids. So can you be a little bit more specific, because the LGBTQ issue, is that something that's also included as well as the critical race theory? Where is Mahwah stand on that?
I think we need to clear something up, and we spoke about this at the last board meeting. There's a lot out there about critical race theory, and there's a lot that's in the news about critical race theory. And what I shared yesterday at the last meeting is we are not putting critical race theory in our curriculum. What we're putting in our curriculum is aligned to what our community asks for, our teachers ask for, and our students ask for. And what that's grounded in is that we're being respectful, we understand that we have differences, we accept each other's differences, and we understand that there's not just one singular identity in this district. That being said, what does that look like? We're creating opportunities for the student. We're creating opportunities for our students to learn about each other. We're creating opportunities for our students to be respectful of one another, and we're creating opportunities for our students to see who they are in books.
But on what basis? On what basis? Is it race, or what is the basis?
Excuse me, let him answer.
There's a number of characteristics that are represented in our district. So whether it's race, whether it's creed, whether it's sexual orientation, that being said, that is done in a way that's age appropriate.
When is that ever appropriate?
When is what appropriate?
When is speaking to kids about race?
We are obligated by the state of New Jersey to teach, whether it's the Amistad mandate, the Holocaust mandate, or the LGBTQ
you need to
mandate.
ask parents if this is appropriate, if they would like this.
Ma'am, I'm not going to go back and forth about this.
And I'm
just
not gonna
sharing
go
with
back
you
and
what the
forth.
state's telling us to do.
Excuse me, we're going to do this in a respectful manner.
I am trying to be
Please.
respectful. Okay, but we pay taxes.
Yes, we do, and we pay taxes to the state of New Jersey who mandates what is required. Then I got to be honest with you, where you need to be is down in Trenton. These mandates come from Trenton. LGBTQ, matters of equity, matters of race, matter of everything, by grade. Okay? No. Your state legislatures represent you with regards to what is required from the Department of Education in the state of New Jersey. We are then mandated by the state of New Jersey to teach those things, whatever they may be.
So you have absolutely no say in this at all. Your educators, administrators, you have no say in this at all?
No, it's state law that needs to be followed.
Yeah.
It's state law. This isn't something that we made up. This is state law.
I understand that.
Okay.
But have any of you stood up and said, listen, I have children in this school district also, and this is inappropriate, and I do not want these things in the classroom for my children?
Excuse me, I have 2 children in the school district, and I want them to learn all of that.
Well, that's your
That's
preference.
right. They are, no, I'm sorry.
you need to ask
State law, I'm sorry.
This isn't
I'm
going
gonna
to be
speak-
a song match. Excuse me.
No, we don't. State law mandates that we teach issues of diversity,
Yes, but we
equity.
pay taxes, and we have the right
State
to
law
withhold our
mandates,
taxes.
excuse me,
We have the right to withhold our taxes if you're teaching things that are not appropriate to our children.
I would advise you to not withhold the taxes.
Don't advise me.
I'm more than happy.
Thank you so much for your comments.
Along the lines of the curriculum that's being taught, I am more than happy to meet with anyone to sit down to talk about the extent to which whatever content you have questions about is being taught. There's stuff that's on the New Jersey Department of Ed website, but I understand that there's a lack of clarity along the lines of what's in the news and what's being discussed on social media. I'm more than happy to sit with you, and we can talk about to what extent this content is being discussed.
Yeah, name and
Allison
record.
Theodoro, 1 Arenal Place. I'm just going to follow up a little bit, having been a teacher myself. I do understand that there are some state legality issues. However, there's also the extent to which a district embraces it and how much they do of it. I think it might be helpful to actually see what the curriculum entails. Is there a way or a place we can get that published?
I think probably the best way, like Dr. DeTuro just said, is to, if you have specific questions, he said he's happy to answer them. For us to put together a meeting with the entire curriculum.
No, I'm not saying that. I know, having been a teacher, I've sat on curriculum committees, I taught for 12 years. There's a curriculum. correct?
There's not a curriculum on diversity.
There's not.
So please understand
Okay,
that when we're talking about diversity, we're talking about...
Excuse me?
No, that is incorrect, ma'am. That's not...
Excuse me, ma'am. Someone else is at the microphone.
Again, that's not the case at all. So what we are planning on doing is making sure, whether it's through our novel sets, along the lines of the characters that are in the novels that are representative of our population, whether it's in whatever subject matter woven in along the lines of diversity, inclusivity. This is not a standalone curriculum.
Okay,
This is not something that is new.
That's a good answer.
So,
Is there
but
a-
please understand one thing. This is something that is ongoing. This is something that is on the backs of what we discussed along the lines of our strategic plan and what our community asked for. We do not have a diversity course. We do not have anything that is standalone like that. What we're trying to do is embed a respect and understanding of our students, of the students who are sitting next to them. And that is it. So please understand, there's a lot that's out, and that's why I started this way. There's a lot that's out in the news. There's a lot that's out in the media. There's a lot that's out in social media. And please understand that this is not the same thing that we're talking about right now. There's a lot that we're doing and we're moving forward with, but we're just getting started. There are no courses, nor are there plans for courses that are specifically with this information. But this is important work that we're raising students, and I appreciate the information from the mother that this is something that we want to partner with our parents with. This is our only work. This is a portion of what we're doing. That's all.
Can I just speak to that for a second, going back to my point of some of it being state mandated and some being not? I would love to see what exactly is state mandated, Dr. Toro. If there's no curriculum, is there something you have from the state that you could pass out or post somewhere where parents could read it?
There are three mandates. There's the Holocaust mandate,
Okay.
the Amistad mandate.
Those were previously in there, correct?
Absolutely
Okay.
correct. And that's really the purpose of what I'm saying. So we can go to the NJDOE website, and at that point, that's where all that information goes on.
Okay, so now, as you said, it's part of our strategic plan. Now I'm going to go back to that. I didn't notice like math or science, well, STEAM I did notice, but math or language arts in that plan. Is there a reason why?
If you look at the strategic plan, all of our subjects are represented, but not in specificity. There's things when you're talking about problem-based learning, when there's things when you're talking about creating exploratory type of experiences, they cross over all content areas. It's not subject-specific. We're looking to create rich educational experiences in every single subject matter, starting with PLA and going all the way to history. So it really spans the entire scope of the curriculum.
Okay. My other comment, and I think I've spoken with you about it before, I know I've spoken with Mr. Corey about it. SLE is an all-encompassing thing. I know mindfulness is one way you meet SEL, but as a former teacher and a parent, you have to have a big toolbox.
Sure.
And if we're just going to keep going back to the mindfulness, I think we're going to lose whatever can be garnished from that to help our children, because it's going to be an overabundance of the same thing over and over again, and they're going to tune it out. And I feel like lately in Mahwah, we've been kind of beating a dead horse with the mindfulness, and perhaps we can explore expanding our toolbox to other things that might also incorporate SEL, because to me, getting back to normal is one of those things, and it's great to see things like the dance that came back to normal, but the fact that our kids never went back to school this year is a huge negative when towns like Wyckoff, you know, right down the road in Franklin Lakes and Oakland, went back to school full-time this year. So as much as you want to pat yourselves on the back for that, like, those are moments we're never going to get back for our children. That's education permanently lost. So be mindful of that and explore our toolbox and our other options that we have to help our children with social and emotional development, like getting them back to things being normal.
Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Michael Paul. I'm a Mahwah resident as well. I never actually something I want to follow up with this. I think this is the law that you are referring to. This is the Assembly Bill number 44454, which was signed to law in March 1st. And one thing that is stated here, it says the Commissioner of Education should provide school district with sample learning activities and resources designed to promote diversity and inclusion. Did we receive anything like that from them?
We do not. Those types of samples, if you go, they're already in existence if you go onto the website of those two websites that I was referring to. But along the lines of formal sharing, they did not do, since that mandate, share anything that's new. Everything is up on that website.
So did we receive anything from them ever?
Along the lines of resources,
Yes.
everything is housed as a library on that website and then shared out from them. So on the NJDOE website, there is specific categories that you can go to that shows sample resources that you can utilize in your.
So there was nothing explicitly sent to us. We have to go and look for it and then.
Yeah, well, like a lot of things are shared that way. Along the lines of it's said that it's there, so you have to go and look. But that's an example of it.
Can you provide example of some of the resources that you are actually able to download and use for the curriculum?
I'm sorry?
Can you provide example of some of the resources that you were able to actually download from this site and give us example of those?
I'm more than happy to meet with you. We can sit down and show, I'll show you that.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you very much.
I can, before we leave the questions, take the name down.
Thank you, next.
Hello, Phil Ross, One Manor Road, Mahwah. As I have made quite clear, I believe that these issues of diversity, religion, and so forth be handled at the home. And that's where it all starts. The question I have, now, it looks like you're going forward with this training, and, I've been through some of this. How exactly are we going to address equity? Can someone explain to me the notion of equity and how it's going to be presented to our children? Please address the notion of equity, because this is equity of outcome. And how are you going to have equity of outcome without someone being shortchanged?
Equity, equity is not about someone being shortchanged. Equity is specific to making sure that everyone is given what they're entitled to. That being said, we are not at a...
Sorry.
Whoa. Hey, Phil, let him answer. Let him answer, though. Don't cut him off.
We have a question.
But let him finish and answer, then you can ask the follow-up.
Okay, I will.
Please. You asked the question. Here comes an answer.
Along the lines of new things that are going to be shared with our students, we're not at that place right now. Right now, we're working with our administrative team and our teachers to position ourselves to make sure that we're putting out a product that really attends to what we envision all this work looks like. We are not at a place to share with the community of what that final product is. And I know that just like the mask mandate and other things, there's this sense of now and I need clarity. That being said, this is a work in progress and something that we're not at a place that we can have a formalized presentation on this is what the work is going to be. You shared with us your work last time along the lines of what you did in the college courses and things like that. And I understand the feedback that you got and also the feeling you have about that training. And I respect where you're coming from along the lines of you feel that it should be different. But that being said, that's not where we're at right now. We're not even at a place of putting out a finalized product. So when we're talking about a strategic plan, you're talking about starting to plan out for our future. We're not there.
Okay, so if we're going to go, I'm just going to stick with equity right now, because it's equity of outcome. Okay, it is equity of outcome, and that's really the bottom line. It's equity of outcome, and whenever you have equity of outcome, you're taking something from someone and giving it to someone else, and that's what it is. So how are we going to go and say we're going to pick a direction here, and yet we haven't fully researched what we're going to put forth? Why are we even making announcements on something that we haven't researched fully? We don't have a plan. When I'm going to execute a plan, I have done all my research. I said, this is what I'm going to do. Now I make my announcement, and then I move forward. See, that's why everyone's questioning, because there's no data. Say, oh, we're going to do diversity, inclusion, equity training. Well, okay, so then what is the curriculum? What are we putting forth here? That's not been provided. So of course you're going to have questions. And equity, I've been through the training. I know what equity is.
But that doesn't mean, Mr. Ross, that we're dealing the same training that you dealt with. So I understand that you have negative feelings about your training. That does not mean that our training is going to align with what you were taught.
Well, what is it?
Hold on. Someone's at the microphone, please. Hold on.
But now, that's a very adroit question, because now, this is about our community, okay? It's about our community. This is what you said, that this is, you're answering, you're doing this stuff in response to our community. So if our community is asking these questions, why don't we have the data on it? Why don't we have the information of how this is going to be presented to our children? That's important.
When we're in a position to put forward a product, we will share that with the community. So the community, just like I shared with you on the website, all of our work will be shared. There's nothing to hide. And all of the work will be shared with our community.
But why are we making announcements without having the plan laid out?
Because with a strategic plan, we plan out. And with a strategic plan, the community, the teachers, and the administrative team said that this was a point of priority. And with that, we're planning moving forward.
And this type of training was asked for by our community?
I'm still confused on this type of training. What was asked for by the community was...
The concept of diversity was. The concept of equity and inclusion was. At the strategic plan meetings, I don't know if you were there, there were hundreds of people there, and these are things that came up at the different tables, at the different places, and was made part of this plan. Which, by the way, was presented to the community well over a year ago.
So as opposed to putting out a product that we're not prepared to do, we want to make sure that we're doing it the right way. If we don't, then we have a number of different people splintering off and doing different things. So to ensure that all of the work is aligned to where the district wants to go, the training needs to occur. That's why training is necessary.
Wait, the training...
Mr. Ross, you and I can sit down and we can have a long conversation about curriculum equity, but I have no other information for you. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm not at a place now to have any more information for where we are going, because we're not there yet. Well, I'm not sure what you're looking to opt out in, but when I say that...
Hold on. No. We're at the microphone. But we're at the microphone.
Mr. Ross, can I really quick?
We need answers because parents have to go back to work in September. We need answers. We need answers as to what a plan is going to be. I can't tell my employer, well, I don't know what's going on. That's not acceptable. And it's not acceptable for anybody to tell us that you don't know. Can we opt out of this? That's my question. Nobody knows that?
Well, you are more than
Can
welcome.
I please address something?
Is an option. Other schools are an option. Private schools are not. You can opt out, yes. That's how you can opt out.
That's exactly what we're going to do if we don't get answers. Our kids are not...
I understand, I understand that.
Sorry.
To your point, there are options.
Our school system is the answer.
That's not acceptable.
She asked if
Can I
you can
address
opt
something
out.
about
I gave an
equity,
answer
please?
to that.
Everybody,
Thank
can I
you.
talk? Sorry, can I please say this? I've been trying to say this for 5 minutes. So equity is not taking from someone to give to someone else. That is not what equity is. So, no, it's not. I'm sorry, it's not. Let me use an analogy here. That's not what equity is. Here's what equity is, all right? So, no, listen, you're not letting me speak. You're not letting me speak. Can you let me speak? Thank you. I'm trying to. Every time I talk, I get interrupted.
Excuse me.
Here's what equity actually is, okay? Equity is not taking from one person to give to another, all right? Imagine that there's a big pizza pie, right? And, listen, this is how I explain things. I explain through metaphor, so bear with me, all right? I'm trying to explain what equity is because what was stated is not correct. All right, and it's giving an impression that something is going to be taken away from your kids to give to someone else's kids. And that's not what's happening. That's not what equity is. No one up here wants to do that. No one up here is planning to take away from some students to give to others. That's not what equity is. No one here is talking about that. It's not going to happen. Here's what equity actually is, okay? It's not like there's a scarcity of pizza, and in order for that child over there to get pizza, it's going to have to be taken away from another kid. Here's what's actually happening. There's an abundance of pizza, but there are a lot of kids who are afraid to come and take their seat and take the slice that is already theirs. Because they are LGBTQ, and they do not feel welcome.
You're applying different standards to different people based on race or whatever you want.
And you're still not letting me finish, but thank you.
All right, Mr. Park, thank you. Dr. Park, thank you very much for
Can I
that.
redirect to another topic?
Excuse me, we're going to go back to the public session.
I want to go back to our strategic planning thing, because I did sit on several of those meetings. I know I couldn't go to all of them. So I'm just wondering if there's data that I could see where we got from the original meetings to what the points that came out for the strategic planning are?
It's all on the district website.
Yeah, I believe there's all the backup was there.
Strategic planning meeting that we had.
Right, I saw a lot of compilation things posted up, but is there
Right.
statistics that say, overarchingly, this had so many percent? There is?
Yeah.
So everything's on the district website that was done by the outside consultant, Mr. Lee, from the New Jersey School Boards. So if you go to the website on the left-hand side, it shows the disaggregated breakdown. It doesn't have numbers, it shows the thematic units that you see and the trends within them.
So there's no numbers, okay. And how do we, I know we
There
talked.
actually, there are numbers that it triggers themes and responses, but there's no formula specific. So if you go to the website and take a look.
No, but I couldn't get a number that said like 86% of people wanted,
There are responses reported, not percentages.
so it's just like a list?
Yes.
Okay, and the list is not multi-generated, like if someone responded and someone else responded the same thing, you would see it twice, or no?
The list is there in its entirety first, but then there's also a cumulative breakdown.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Michelle Salzman, 10 Stonewall Court. Two quick questions.
Can you just speak up? I'm sorry, I
Oh, I'm
can't
sorry.
hear a
Michelle
word.
Salzman, 10 Stonewall Court. For next year, did we confirm that we are going back full day with lunch till 3 o'clock? A full day of school? Okay, great. And the second question I had, I know Dr. DeToro said we can't plan out because there's no plan because this is kind of a work in progress. Are you able to give us a snapshot of what the 2021-22 school year will look like? Can you plan that far ahead so that we can anticipate what to look for in our classrooms? Because what I'm hearing is that this is going to be embedded, so it's going to kind of be a theme that's being taught everywhere. And so the diversity, inclusion, and equity, and that it's still in the work, so you don't have a presentation to give because it's an evolving process. But do you have any idea what came down from the state and what you're saying the community wants for this immediate school year?
That's my confusion is this isn't a new mandate.
Okay, so there's nothing new this year. There was no new standards?
This is work we've been doing all along. I guess that's where my confusion is coming from. I think someone's talking a lot about critical race theory. Don't point out curriculum.
Oh, I'm not talking about critical race theory.
Well, I understand that, but that was mentioned several times this evening. We've talked about equity in schools, in classrooms. This isn't the first time. So this has been a New Jersey mandate for a long time now.
Okay, maybe it's the LGBTQ that's new. I believe there was something new for the 2021 school year, but maybe I'm wrong.
That's been around for a couple years now, yeah.
I thought there was something new for this school year. New law. So
in terms of giving you a snapshot of the year, we're going to give all of our information in August in terms of what September will look like. In terms of equity, that's been a part of the conversation in a lot of different content areas across the board. So I don't know how to exactly answer that for you, unfortunately.
okay, no, I apologize. I thought that there were new curriculum changes for this school year.
Honestly, that's why I'm very confused, because... Okay, well, I'm confused because I'm hearing that as if this is a new thing, and we've been talking about this for many years in the class. You know?
So nothing came from the state or anything this year?
It comes from the state years ago. So when I first started teaching in 2004, that was part of the standards even back then. So
I guess it's just more pervasive now than it was a few years ago.
I don't know if pervasive is a word. I just think that...
Well, I've been in the district, I guess, almost 11 years now, and I can tell you it's much different now than it was 11 years ago. So I guess pervasive is maybe not the correct word. It's more infiltrated into systemic, into all those words, into all the classes. So I'm just kind of wondering, so like if you're taking a French class or you're taking a math class, if it's going to be, if these themes are going to be incorporated into individual classes, or if it's going to be strictly contained to the health classes. Are there changes to health education? That's what I'm trying to figure out, is what the changes are going to look like for the school year next year. And if everything's going to look exactly the same as it did this year, then I guess I don't have a question. I just thought that there were going to be some changes made to the health classes, and that there was going to be more information on those more sensitive topics integrated into the curriculum course-wide, which is why you can't opt out, so to speak, because it's not one class. It's, in French, they're going to mention something. In Spanish, they're going to mention something. In language arts, they're going to mention something. So if your child's in school, unless you're going to pull them out every 10 minutes, it's not feasible. That's what I'm trying to figure out, is how it's going to be integrated into their daily instruction. That's all I really want to know, only for the school year, because I know you guys can't plan ahead. Don't know.
It's tough to answer because it depends on the themes of the unit or the content area or, you know what I mean, the part of the school year. So
Are they required to teach certain things in all classes?
well, I believe equity and inclusion was originally derived to make students feel welcome and safe coming to school.
Excuse me, ma'am, please, ma'am. Ma'am, please. Ma'am, someone's at the microphone being spoken.
You're not answering our questions.
I believe he is.
We've been talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion for
Not the way it is now.
Ma'am,
Okay, let's forget those terms, because they've become buzzwords for the night. All I wanted to know is if there's going to be a difference in what the children are going to be required, or the teachers are going to be required to teach as part of new curriculum standards.
I don't believe so, because these standards have been in place for many years.
Okay.
No, that's
I-
not.
I don't-
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Excuse me, name and address, and if you could please speak up into the microphone.
Okay, so this law was actually signed in March this year. I think this is the assembly bill number I have here. It's a copy. And it says that in the beginning of the year 2021-22 school year, each school district shall incorporate instructions on diversity inclusion in appropriate place in curriculum for students in grades kindergarten to 12, right? And it goes on. So this basically, you're saying this has nothing, there's nothing new, this is not going to have any effect on our curriculum?
They're anchored in the three components that I shared earlier.
Which is the whole
And then LGBTQ.
So that's the new thing that is going to be.
Sorry?
So this is going to have effect.
No, these mandates are not new. These mandates are standing mandates. What he shared was something that's been in existence for years. These are not new mandates.
No, what do you mean in years? This says it was
I
approved.
understand that it was signed.
Yeah, it's a new bill.
Do you understand that?
Exactly.
I'm saying the focus and the content is something that's been in existence and it's been on the website for years.
I understand there was a focus for some years, but my question is going to be something new this year.
That mandate is not changing our direction.
It's not changing in direction.
That doesn't intensify it, it doesn't alter it, it continues forward.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else, please? Name and address for the record, please.
Little Otito, 44 Early Road. Two things. What is the difference between SEL and PBIS? Like, how is it incorporated in the classroom?
They're all under the same umbrella. PBIS, SEL, mindfulness, responsive classroom, they're all under the same umbrella of student health and emotional growth. There's no significant changes when you're talking about building a student that is confident, secure, and socially productive.
All right, I get that because in our district we use PBIS.
And in my previous district, we used PBIS as well in Rockland.
Okay. The next question is, when do you start incorporating sex ed in this district? If you're trying to find out what a child is he straight, bi, gay, whatever? When? Is it just going to be standard, just starting from 8th grade? Or again, in this district, are we going to start at a young age?
We're not, when you're talking about sexual orientation, those standards are not elementary specific.
Okay.
Those standards are secondary specific, and they're not something that we teach at the elementary level or at all, or exposed at all. At the elementary level, I believe it's 5th grade that they do their, Ms. Scuderi does for sex ed, and it's more specific to puberty, and that is shared with the parents and also the video is there with parents.
Very good, very good. All right, I'm good.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lucino. Anyone else? No? All right. Sure thing. Name and address for the record, please.
Name Morales, Mahwah Residence, 778 Wyckoff Avenue. In September, is vaccine going to be mandated for our students?
We don't know what September is going to look like until we present all the information. It's not something that
Yeah. Is there a voucher to opt out? I mean, I know you guys don't have any answer right now, but waiting until August is going to be way too late for us to prepare.
Well, unfortunately, with the state of New Jersey, that's kind of where we're at.
We're just as frustrated as everybody else. We don't get into we can't do anything.
It is a concern that we have, so.
I appreciate that concern. I would simply say, being in an election year, the science to follow on that is political science, and I don't believe the governor would do that going into a school year and election year. But that's not going to be a district mandate. That'll be a state mandate.
Stacy Merriman, 20 South Railroad. Have you reached out to the other districts that have already made their decisions? There's quite a few. I could probably get a list that have already said no more masks in September. They will not mandate vaccines. Have you reached out to them? Are you advocating, as it was asked last time, for our kids?
We'll be meeting with superintendents in our region. That is something that we're planning on doing.
But this was asked at the last meeting, too. And I believe the meeting before that.
With regard to what, masks?
Yeah.
What we shared is we want as much information as possible. What we have shared is that the governor, again, expressed in a press release, a press conference.
But I know, I heard that. I'm asking you, have you found out how other districts are already made their decision? You're waiting.
Part of our plan for September preparation is for us to engage as many districts as we can to talk through where they're at, who they're consulting with, and what their final decision is. Along the lines of us having the discussions in previous meetings, our goal was to finish the year successfully this previous year and make sure that we had all the end of the year ceremonies in place for our students. Now that we're in our first week of the summer, we're engaging the other districts, and we're going to try to get down a consortium of superintendents, curriculum directors, directors of special services, and work with our local health department to make sure that we're making the right decision for our district. So as of right now, we do not have a final decision for September. We are going to follow exactly what the governor and the CDC tells us to do, and we are going to make sure that we have everything thoroughly presented to you guys in August.
Well, again, that's a little late, but that is really late. But here's my other question. Since there's been, and again, I know there's going to be no answer, but when the meeting of the minds come together, can you think about if you are going to have masks? Now, I believe there's a law in the books federally that since a mask is under emergency use, that you actually have to opt in to wear a mask, and that you can say no. Now, I've heard nothing about quarantine. There's going to be no remote. So is quarantine out the window, and is there no option for remote? Because I can't have my kids go to school all day in a mask. Not the whole day. And so how is my 3 kids, going to be accommodated? So just, I know you can't answer that now, but if you could, and so I have time to maybe pull them out and go someplace else.
Understood. Thank you so much for your questions. Thank you. One last one.
Allison Theodore again. What districts are in our consortium that we consort with to make our reentry plan for September?
We're part of something called Region 1. The districts that we work with in the past are Glen Rock, Ramsey, Oakland, but there are a number of districts in that region, and I know Kyle can probably rattle off chapter and verse along the lines of, I believe it's Ramsey, Ridgewood, Glen Rock, Saddle River, Hoboken.
So all up 17 North. Do they fall in line with the Department of Health that governs us as well?
There's different sections of the department.
I know, that's why I asked.
Some feed into that.
But not all.
But so like a Ridgewood and a Paramus have their own department. So we don't all go to the same person.
Well, I remember because we were talking to people from Upper Saddle River, and they were a different Department of Health even than Mahwah, which seems so silly because we're so close to each other. So Upper Saddle River wouldn't be in your consortium then?
Upper Saddle River.
They are, okay. All right, any other ones? Franklin Lakes?
That's all yes.
Franklin Lakes?
I have those. Yeah.
There's 15 districts.
Okay.
Just ask one last question. Yeah, I have.
Please, one last each.
Mine's a one-liner. Mine's a one-liner. Michelle Salzman, 10 Stonewall Court. If the governor says no masks, but the CDC recommends masking, which one do you follow?
He's not going to say no mask. He's going to say follow the CDC guidelines. That's what we are interested in.
Well, Murphy just said no, he said he's going to leave it up to the district.
Sure, and then as I shared in his first word, that recommendations were going to be based off of the CDC guidance.
Okay, well, okay, so the CDC is going to be final word, pretty much, over the governor if they differ?
I mean, we're going to talk about all different types of things before September.
Okay, yeah, it's just difficult, like they said, if children have to be pulled out and parents who have to go back to work and kids who can't mask for 7 hours, finding out 3 days before school starts makes things a little challenging.
Little of you know, 44 on the road, it goes back to the mask. A couple of years ago, this district was hit by the flu. Pretty bad, where you had over 30% of the high school population out. I remember, I believe it was Dr. Jones sending out an email, and nothing was said about masks, nothing was said about going Zoom or anything. Kid was sick, you kept him home. So if we just can't come up with an explanation, if your kid's sick, send them home. I'm not saying I'm gonna keep them home, excuse me, I don't understand. But, and there was nothing back then about masks. I'm sure, I don't know if your son was in high school at that time. It was a couple of years back.
I remember.
And I remember the flu, my kids, both my kids had the flu. And it was one kid after another, one at the Ridge, one at the high school. Right.
I understand the road back mandated masks.
But again, and I hate to say it, every time you do this, touch your face, the mask doesn't work. So,
thank you.
Right there. I hate to say it, but.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lucido.
And kids are the worst.
All right, name and address, please.
Hi, Chris Olsman, 10 Stonewall Court. I think I reiterated this in the last couple of meetings, but CDC guidelines, not requirements, not law. So something you have to pay attention to for that. Also, we're not saying that if we don't wear masks, that kids don't have the option to wear masks if they're comfortable for it. I think what we're looking for is the option, okay? Equity of opportunity. Thanks, ladies. To say that you can do something if you want to. If you don't, then that's okay too, all right? Otherwise, again, you're putting us in a corner where we want to opt out of public school, that we pay taxes so we can pay taxes twice. So that's not fair either. So we're looking for a reasonable answer on the plan, not before August, before September. Come on, people. I know you're working hard. Congratulations to all of you, Dr. Fitz, on going through a year of very successful. But again, parents here and online on the camera have been waiting for answers for over a year. And if you can tell I'm frustrated, that's because I am. All of us are. That's why we're here. We care about our kids. We care about the school district. We care about the town. Without you guys giving us answers, then again, it's not helpful. Any thoughts?
I believe you're going to get your answer in August, as stated. I mean, that's
so helpful, but why not give us an answer now? Why not say our plans based on...
If the guidance comes out in July, we can give it in July.
Why can't we say based on what the governor has given as of this point in time, that we're going forward with a no mask required?
The statement of wait until August, pretty much. That's what the governor has given us. You're right, because we don't have this 15-page roadmap that we're referring to.
And also, just one thing I'm wondering about is, where's the enforcement arm of this? I know that there's mandates and recommendations, but If this is self-imposed and the parents are telling you, we don't want our kids to go through this, then why are we doing it? There's not going to be any state police militia coming in here, so what's the purpose? Anyone?
Thank you for your comments.
Helpful as always, thanks.
Have a good night.
How you doing, folks? Duke Goltz, I live at 145 3rd Street. You know, you do a lot of good things here with the schools, but the vagueness, not answering the most important questions that we have, throws all of it right out the window. You have a whole bunch of people here, and for each one of us, there's probably at least another 20 to 50, okay, with these same types of important issues that you won't answer. It's as appropriate by grade level. Or, yes, it's mandated, and but there's no curriculum. So it's mandated, but there's no curriculum. We've done it for years, but you don't have any example to give us right now. And that seems like a crock, to be quite honest with you, all right? And it's over and over and over again here tonight with every important issue that we're asking. And thank you for diminishing our opinion as town people here about, you know, equity, all right? Because some of us know a little bit more about that than others. I worked for the Center for Health Equity in New York City for 5 years. And I know where a lot of that $2 billion in the Thrive program went. Making up stories like pizza pies in the sky. And I'm not lying to you because I got stacks of confidential papers at home that can show it. I know exactly what's in this stuff, and you embed it into everything that you have, so you don't have to show us exactly what's going on. And I want answers. These people want answers. A lot of people want answers. A lot of people on that video want answers. And listen, we know that you have a hard job. I was going to be an educator at one point in time too. Instead, I went into public health and healthcare. And I know a lot about a little bit more of that other stuff too. And if you want to talk about it, we can definitely talk about it. But we're going to videotape every bit of it if you don't mind. Okay. Yeah? Anytime. Let's talk, but it's going to be online. Or will you not talk with me now? Listen, we want this to be a good place. Start working with us. No, there's a couple avenues that you are taking, believe me, because I worked it. I was a community coordinator, and I did this stuff for 5 years, okay? I was a systems partnership specialist. You don't have to tell me, and you don't even know what you're bringing in. I do. You really want to go through it? We can. We'll do it all online. We'll talk about it together. I got plenty of paperwork to prove it, bud. It's a Trojan horse, and you cannot, and you can't even give us one definitive answer about any of the most important stuff we're asking. So please, start working with us on these issues.
Thank you for your comments. Okay. With that, can I get a motion to close, please? Dr. Park, second. Oh, please, no one was standing up, so that's usually when we close. Okay then, motion to close, please. Mr. Gallo, seconded by Dr. Park. Thank you. All right. Can I please get a motion to adjourn? Ms. Conoco, seconded by Mr. Gallo. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
What is the